Hello there, and welcome to another episode of my Star Wars world. And today we're going to be continuing working on this cliffside that we actually finished up in the last episode. So we do need to go around here and finish up all of the rest of the island going around. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to finish it this episode. It's going to be a crazy build. I'm going to see how much I can get done, and if we can get it all done, that's fantastic. And then we can probably start working on the rivers from there, because we're going to need to do a layout for the whole Naboo town. The city of Theed is what we're going to be building. So obviously we're going to have the Naboo Palace up here going into the main city parts, and then just all the small buildings down the other end. And honestly, there's so much space here. Look how much space I have underneath here. We can fit any farms we want, anything. We're going to have so much space for farms going from the buildings. It's going to be really cool. But now I think, because we have so much to build, we should probably just get straight in with building up the sides, and we're just going to go bit by bit and see how it goes.
Join me, and together we can rule the algorithm as creator and sub.
It is finally done. I don't think you understand how much time this took me. So we're going to go over that very shortly. But this was ridiculous getting all of this in. I'm so happy it's done. And also, I just want to address the fact that at the start of this episode, I didn't actually mention anything about why this episode has taken so long to come out. And that's, now you probably realise, this is part of the reason. All of these trees, nightmare to build. I mean, to be honest, I did mention in the previous episode I was using easy place mode. Even with that, this is like 60 something hours of placing blocks. We've completely filled out the whole thing. If you take a look inside, if I just go into free cam for you now, you'll see everything is dark. That is a lava pool. Yeah, I have completely gone through and filled up all of the holes I missed. If you spotted any in the time lapse, there shouldn't be any left. These are all just lava pools, except from the one over here where the beacon is, because at the moment that's my only entrance to get back down into my stuff. But yeah, so obviously it's been a while since I released an episode, and this wasn't the main reason. I did obviously mention that I got a new job. But before we get into that, the next step is I have been repairing my elytra constantly with just the XP bottles that I farmed in the last episode. And I think now it's about time that we get a little XP farm going, and I'm going to go with a gold XP farm just because I find them so much quicker and so much easier to use, and they're kind of out of the way. They're not in your base, they're in the Nether on the roof, so they're out of the way and it's nice. But right now I have all of the resources on me. You'll see I've got everything here, so let's just jump into building it and then we can go over why it's taken me so long to get this episode out. But of course, as I mentioned, that wasn't the only thing that actually held me back from making this episode. And to be honest, I started a new job and I didn't really want to be trying to do the new job and trying to push out the episode and trying to put all of that effort in while learning. It wasn't really a good idea or suitable. I really wanted to get the first month in, maybe even a little bit more, and you know, basically just get used to the job rather than stressing about two different things. So what I actually did is I set up a server for one of the subscribers and me, and to be honest, it's open, so anyone is free to join. You just have to let me know so I can add you to the whitelist. And of course, I will say now we do have backups on, so you're not going to be doing any trolling or anything like that. It is just a friendly server with just 2 of us at the moment, but it's actually Pixelmon, and it's the Pixelmon immersive mod. So it's pretty cool, and I might even show you guys a bit later what we were building there, because it took a lot of learning and a lot of effort, ironically, so it's quite funny that that's how I ended up spending the time. But it was nice. It was nice to get a break from this world. You know, obviously building that massive island, it takes a lot of effort, and I just couldn't wait to get back to this. I could have probably done with a couple more weeks to get used to the job. Still a bit to learn, but I really wanted to start working on this Star Wars world again because I'm just loving it. I'm loving the progress, and I really just want to get to building the actual Naboo buildings. Now, that's not to get anyone's hopes up about a 2-weekly schedule again. I am going to be focusing on the quality of the episodes and the quality of the builds over the quantity, and I really want to do Naboo properly because it's going to be my main base. So I hope no one was too disappointed about missing out on these episodes for this time. And for anyone who's new to the channel, it probably seems a bit weird me sitting here going on and on about a job. But most people who have seen previous episodes will know I actually got made redundant about 7 months ago now. So it's actually nice to be back in work, and that's why I decided to take a break from making the videos. But I will say that the Pixelmon world, as fun as it is and having the Pokemon in the world, not having the mobs, you realise how many blocks you just can't get access to, and to be back here and actually having all these blocks available to me is very nice. Now of course you can still make some farms, like the Moss farm for example, but I would have to make that again, and I already made it here, so it's just a lot of effort really. But you definitely would not be getting one of these gold farms. Well, I guess the question now becomes, what are my plans for the channel? Like, how am I going to proceed? Am I going to keep making videos for a long time, or am I going to be stopping soon if work gets busy, whatever? That's the questions people might have on their mind. Well, I can say that I am going to keep making videos. I do really enjoy it. I can't speak to the distant future. You know, you never know what's going to happen, right? But at the moment, I just want to keep going with this world. I'm really enjoying it, and if I'm honest, this is like the most successful Minecraft world I've ever built. It's really come together, and now I've got this mega project on the go, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all comes out, which, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to take me like a year to make Naboo, but you'll see I have some big plans for it. And also, you know, we got the new update with the copper golems, which is perfect timing for my sorting system, as well as the shelves. I think they're going to be fantastic on Naboo. So I think we will look to get that updated for next episode. I can't guarantee it's going to work, but I will be trying to do that. And hopefully pretty soon, Mojang is also going to be releasing the update for the Nautilus, which will just go so well with the Gungan City. Unfortunately, I'm not sure at this stage how I'm actually going to go about the Gungan City, because it's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to make it deeper in the ocean, because the ocean is not deep enough, obviously, which is a very weird thing to say. But yeah, the oceans here, they're not deep enough for what I need, and I don't really know. It's difficult to dig underwater. So this gold farm is going to be much smaller than the one that I built previously, and that's because I'm not trying to make a crazy gold farm, and I'm just trying to make it simple and something for XP. 1, 2, 3. What happened there? What? Okay, I need to work something out there. Whoa, where did this guy come from now? What on earth is going on? It wasn't doing this before. Right, that should now just block those off so nobody else can come running over. That guy just completely fell off. Right, I am actually seeing why they fell off now. It's because I'm too close here. So they were jumping off the edge of the magma blocks and landing on here. Which, I mean, that's fine. Now they can't get here anyway. What? What? Why are the babies falling through that gap? Oh, for goodness sake. There's always something, isn't there? There is always something with these farms. Did it really just fall through here? Well, now that the XP situation has been resolved, we need to move on to the next stage for this island. And you might be thinking that that is the actual buildings and starting to work on the city. But actually, you would be wrong. I did mention at the beginning of the episode, before we can build any of the houses, we also need to basically build all of the rivers, because we need to have somewhere to frame the houses. We need to make sure the rivers are in the correct places. So I think what we'll do now is we'll jump over into a test copy of this world. Also, I forgot to mention, I did put all of these lightning rods here to try and stop the fire spread. Honestly, this island is too big. Until I get something sorted out for like vehicles in the sky to have lightning rods on and some way of actually protecting all of this, it's too risky, and I have actually turned the fire spread off, because if a fire starts on this and burns the whole thing down, it's finished. There's no way I can rebuild this. Now, I know right now this floor doesn't look particularly great. We've got some weird spots going on here, and it's a bit too uniform going all the way across. This is actually just a temporary floor, and I know I placed a lot of moss to do this, but basically we're going to be kind of building over it, and we'll build the streets and everything on top of it, so I can actually do the levels correctly, and you can kind of ignore the layout of this, although it does look quite cool when you go back here and the lines start to disappear. But yeah, and this is also going to be a bit of a forest up here, so that's why I made this a bit more rough. But for now, we do need to just get the basic lines in for the rivers. I think what I'm actually going to do first is I'm going to go into Axiom here. I do need to update this. I haven't updated this for a while, but it will do for now. And we're just going to start off with some shape tools, and we'll go with a flat disc. Maybe if I can make that hollow. And we'll just give myself a diamond block here. I'm going to just make some space for the main palace. Now, all of this is going to be a build just to build around the palace. So realistically... Oh wow. Oh wow, that's only 43 blocks. Oh yeah, that's a 64 block diameter circle. I have plenty of space. I was worried that this palace wasn't going to be big enough, but based on this... this is going to be massive. What if... Whoa, hang on a minute. That's a 128 block circle, and it barely even touches the island. This palace is going to be massive. This is going to be so big. Yeah, okay, we've done good here. I'm happy. Now, the only one bad thing here is that technically the angle is going this way. So if the front of the palace was here, it would make it very difficult. We could build the street kind of coming down here, but it's just going to be on an angle, and I really want to build it more straight. But I do have to build the palace here, because that's where I've made this little rock formation at the back for me to put some of the pillars and things, and then we've got this one here where we can build another pillar and the bridge going across. So, you know what, I think we'll have the main strip come down here. This area will be good, and then we can have the hangar bay thing here where you have the ships coming out of, and then we also have another loading bay down the bottom. And then we can kind of bring the river around the edge here. Doesn't matter if we cut off this side, because we are just taking a slice. And realistically, we just need this section down here to have the main buildings. I know it doesn't line up with the rest of the island very nicely, which is a bit annoying. But it's just what we're going to have to do. I just realised I put this as 128. It should be an odd number, so I'll tell you what. Let's just go with like a little bit smaller. We'll go with 111. It gives me a bit more space to work with. Oh, it's really not ideal, is it? Right, I think I'm overthinking this. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to be able to fit loads of buildings in here. Right, let's undo those for now. Now, what I'm going to do is actually use the path tool. I think if we have the river just coming along the edge here, that might be quite nice. This might actually be a little bit too close to the building, to be fair. I do think that's looking better, although I think this should be slightly more in line. Now is a slightly tricky part, because we do have a fat river on this side. And then I was thinking we can have like a big port style river going along here, so this one will be a lot more straight. Maybe curving off at the end. down to here, and then it can come down there. And then we have one more main river which is going to come up here, which is the fat one, and it will split off into two at the end there. And we just go along and we click on all of these boxes and it should make a nice curve for us. There we go. Now that seems like it's straight lines. How do I change that? There's got to be a way to do it without it messing up my line. I don't want it to just curve through all of them at an average. I want it to curve like it's a line, but actually curved. Right, okay, this one does work. I just had it on 0. Alright, we can always undo it. Let's just try this. Let's just try paste in that. And if we select it, and then we can hollow it out. Now, I wonder, is there a surface only? Is this going to work? No, it's selected all of them. I need an easy way to cut the top off this. I think this is going to be the easiest way. As you can tell, I am by no means an expert at using Axiom at this point, but I've definitely improved a lot, and I use a lot more tools than the first time when I started using it, and it really just helps me to get the shapes. I don't mind going and doing stuff like this manually too much, but obviously you don't want to be removing every single block by hand, which is why some tools like the melt one come in handy just to clear the top half of this, and now I'm just going around clearing up the edges and just making it a little bit more tidy. Well, there we go. We have one nice groove carved out, and that looks perfect shape for a river. Obviously, we're going to raise the sides up a little bit where you'll put the barriers and stuff, and where people can actually have bridges to get over these. Now I'm going to finish up the last few remaining lines, and we'll come back when that is done. I started getting a little bit carried away, and I had to stop myself because I realised I still haven't recorded anything to show you the lines actually done. But you can see I've started working on the base in here with the colour. I've just got the polished black stone going all around, and all of the rivers are done, as well as the ends connecting. I'm only on 32 render distance at the moment because I'm using the shaders. But you can see I haven't fully worked out the ends yet because, as you can imagine, these rivers are going to go down into some waterfalls, and I think these dark lines here will be nice points for me to actually go down from. I think this one over here, is this one nice? One of them over here comes out really nicely. Yeah, that's a pretty good spot as well. And yeah, I actually came up with a little bit of a design for the riverbed. You can also see I started doing some circles, and I added a rock here because this is in the wrong place. I didn't really plan it out very well. This part here is kind of wasted. I'll probably just put some trees over it to cover it up at this point. But yeah, it's my mistake, but I still think it will look fine even with that. Hopefully. I'm really hoping, because that's quite a large area to redo. But if we take a look over here, you can see I've got a bit of a design for the walls of this river, and this one's got some flowers going along it. The only flower I could get to really work on here was these. Everything else would need mud, so that's kind of unfortunate. And actually, in the base, it is just one layer of water. There's actually blue glass underneath here, a couple of layers of blue glass to change the colour and kind of cover up the black at the bottom. I was struggling to get the right colour profile for the water, and it looks alright with the shaders off as well. But yeah, the water of Naboo is like very blue, it's very shiny, and having just water in here, it was just too see-through. You could see everything going on, even if, there you go, if I turn the full bright off. It's pretty good, I like it. But we do have a few difficult blocks to add in here, like these cactus flowers and some of these dripstone blocks at the bottom. They're going to be pretty tricky to get since I don't have a dripstone farm at the moment. But I decided to do this little cross section rather than trying to do it in one of these, so that I know sort of what the pattern is and where I'm going to place everything. Not sure about these ladders yet, but I think they just give like a bit of texture on the wall. We'll see how it goes. But if you come over here, this is me getting carried away. I have actually filled out one of them already, and I think it's working really well. You will notice this wall is like level with the floor. As I said, it's probably better if we raise this up from this floor and we just kind of make our own city floor. I just put this in for me to have somewhere to walk on and to see the island basically completed. So yeah, this is pretty much going to be level with or a bit lower than the moss, but this is the same going on here. We've got the one layer, and then this dripstone is on the bottom layer of the water, just to kind of make the damp bits a bit of a different colour. It's difficult when you get to these slopes though. It's pretty difficult to actually get those right. And as I say, I haven't worked on any of the waterfalls yet. I am going to save that because, you know, normally I don't really go over the process like this, but I just thought it'd be nice for you guys to see how I do the builds, how I use Axiom. And the waterfall I want to save for the time lapse because I'm going to really go in with that and try and make it really, really nice. And I've got to build 8 of them, so that's going to be Not very fun, but I think once it's done, it will look really nice. But for now, I'm going to finish off the water in here. It's kind of difficult getting the layers in, but we'll make it work. And then once that's all done, we'll go back to the survival world. And we'll jump back to that now for you to collect up the resources for this. Just to cut in here before future me goes and gets all these resources. This might be one of the most satisfying things you can do. If you have the fast place mode on. Look at that. Sure, I miss a few at the end, but like, it's just so satisfying watching it fill out all of the gaps. Unfortunately, as you can probably tell, I've had some more delays in getting this episode out. Unfortunately, my mum had an accident and she was in hospital for a week. So during that time, I was actually going to the hospital after work to basically look after her and get things for her because she couldn't really move about very well while she was waiting on surgery. And now that's all done, she ended up going back home and still needed a bit of help from home. And I was just helping my dad to basically get everything done around the house, so that he wasn't just doing it all by himself. So I stayed there for a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, what that did mean is I didn't have my usual microphone because it's hardwired into my desk. I didn't have my usual monitor, which has a higher resolution than the monitor that I was using. Therefore, if I'd recorded clips, they wouldn't have actually fit into the video very well. It would have looked a bit silly, so I just kind of left that. But because I had the setup there, I was able to spend some of the time there doing designing. And actually, I went through and I redesigned all of the rivers because I realized after building the walls up on the rivers, they were so skinny, it just didn't look right. The walls just weren't sitting nicely for me, and so I actually went and redesigned them to make them a bit fatter. I went through and designed all of the waterfalls, and that's how you see I've gone and got all of the resources for this. Oh my goodness, I forgot to set my spawn, and now I've ended up back at the other island. That's unfortunate. So I'm gonna have to fly all the way back there now. And actually saying that, moving all of these resources is going to be very difficult, but I have a little idea that I want to try in order to get everything moved quite easily, and if that works, I'll probably do the same when it comes to moving my whole storage across. And this is about where I got distracted by some goats. I've never really collected a goat before, the goat horn properly, so I decided to try and get one. And then I was getting annoyed by the phantoms, so I went to go get a bed, and what on earth are these villagers doing? Not one of them is sleeping, and they're all gathered in this house. But there we go, I finally got a horn. The first one I got happened to be one of the normal pillager ones, which was quite annoying. My first ever goat horn, and I already got it from just chests. But I did manage to get a different one, and so now we will move on with the rest of the resources because I need to get this underway, because this is still going to be like 300,000 blocks. I mean, the island's pretty much at 1 million blocks by this point, but I'll show you guys in a second all of the resources that I actually gathered up to do this. But just to go back on what I was saying earlier, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining at all about looking after my mum. Actually, I quite enjoy it. I like being there for my family, and you know, that's what life is really about, to be there for your family and friends. So guys, don't forget, you know, if like somebody in your life is having trouble, go and help them while you can, because you never know when that person's going to be gone. So just enjoy the time you have with them. Altogether, there are 228 shulker boxes here that I'm going to need to move over to the other islands, and that's a 6,000 block long journey in the Nether, so I don't think I'm going to be doing that manually. I have thought of a different way to do it, and I'm not sure how well it's going to work, so let's just see. The idea that I have was actually given to me by the mistake that I made earlier, where travelling to the end actually caused me to... whoa, what's going on with my face? Oh, my internet's broken, so I'm not connected to the internet, and that's why I have this face on. I wonder if that's affected the armor stance. No, just me. Just me, apparently. Oh well. So because when I went to the end, it actually made the trip a lot shorter by having my spawn set at the other island. But then I would need to get back. Now, all I'm going to be doing is dropping some shulker boxes. So, I think we could try some ender pearl stasis. Let's give this a go. Set up a little redstone thing going on here to try and make that work. So we're going to have this. I'm just going to design it in my inventory right now. Then we'll have a block. Not a redstone block. That's not ideal, is it? Alright, we'll have a block there. We'll have a lever here, I guess, and then the trapdoor here, and then the ender pearl will go down here. I think that should just work fine. Instead of using the barrels and then I'll have to move the items myself, I'm just going to use shulker boxes, because then I'll just be able to swap them around quite easily. So we don't need the barrels, so it'll be like this, shulker box on top, and I have realised the lever's going to need to go here, and Now, given where my portals are, this is probably going to be easier to just place on the Tatooine Island over here because I've got a bit of space to make that. And honestly, oh, I love the Death Star. Every time I come back here, that's probably one of my favourite things now. Oh, I don't even need the torch. Well, that's annoying. Now I've got to get all this changed. Right, that should do the trick. Now, I probably don't want a full shulker box because that's going to take a while. Got to work out how long it's going to take me to get there, put all the stuff in the thing, and then teleport back. That's what we need to know. It's a bit laggy, but it works. Okay. Okay, so 5 stacks should give me 2 minutes. Just over 2 minutes anyway. What I actually need to do now is just completely empty my ender chest. Since I'm going over there anyway, I might as well move the first set of items. I've made a mistake. I didn't set it off. Well, actually, how do I want to go about this? Oh, I can't make a decision. Oh my goodness, my brain just completely melted there. I'm going to go and make that a bit of a longer timer because I know it takes 5 minutes to fly over there. Guys, I am really not good at doing this. I've just come back through the Nether. I forgot to activate the damn machine. What am I doing? Oh my goodness, right. Now we're ready to go. I also haven't actually checked if that was within the same chunk, so I really hope that that ender pearl works. I think that the ender pearls load like a 3x3 area of chunks, not just one. It'll be really annoying if that redstone is just outside of it. Oh, my elytra is getting low. I didn't even check that. Oh, what am I doing? I'm quite nervous because if that thing pops just as I get there and I don't get to set my spawn, it's going to be really, really annoying. Right, my respawn is set. We're safe. And that is 1 double chest moved. Just a few more. But now, all I have to do is just wait and hopefully it will take me back. I can just fill up my elytra while I'm here since I have these bottles. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned that it hasn't worked. Yes! Yes, it's worked! Oh, this is amazing. This is going to make it so easy. I will definitely be doing this when I try and move all of the inventory as well. I think what I'll do is I'll just prepare everything in shulker boxes so I can just do this. That's a minute and a half. Okay. A minute and a half should be enough, but it's risky. As long as I know my route, it should be fairly quick. So, just get straight in here, go fly up here. Oh yeah, a minute and a half is probably even too much. I think a minute's quick enough. Look at that. Beautiful. Now let's see how much longer it takes. Oh, that's amazing. That's so quick. And I'm back here again. And then we just swap these. Lock this. Put that up there. Put that down there. And we take another ender pearl. And boom, reset. Now I grab the next shulker boxes. Now, of course, I could use the ender pearl to go both ways, but that would be quite hectic trying to set these up every time. Set the ender pearl. If I do it just this way, it's very easy to get to the end. Well, this was an unforeseen issue. How have I ended up inside of it? And just like that, we have moved 228 shulker boxes, moved over 50,000 blocks in just 5 minutes. That was so effective. I'm so glad I chose to do that. That was rapid. I'm so done with my internet not working. I don't know why it's not letting me use my skin when the internet's off, but we've had a real big issue in the house of the internet and I don't know what's going on with it. Well, now that we've got everything here, it's finally time to start working on actually building these rivers and waterfalls. The final thing that we need to do before I can actually start building some buildings. So let's jump into that time lapse. That was absolutely insane. I cannot believe that. And you'll be surprised to know, I did it. I actually did it. I got over the million block amount. There is actually 1 million and about 10,000, just under 10,000. I'll show you the schematic quickly. And there we go. This is the schematic for the island. I did make another copy and removed all of the unnecessary blocks, as you can see from the list here. There's a few at the bottom, like a couple of grass blocks I missed. To be honest, there's a few. 19 gravel I didn't use. But it's 1,009,676, which is just there. It's only just there. But this was a mammoth task. I mean, look at all of this, all these trees, the cliff faces. I really, really like how these waterfalls came out. A few of them, so I actually started from the one over here first. Let's just get over there quickly. So this was the first one I did, and I actually redesigned this about 4 or 5 times because I wasn't happy with it, and I'm still not overly happy. However, you do know that I mentioned that I'm going to be adding something down here, so we'll tidy up this at a later date. That will be more building wise. That's going to be like a little docking station for some ships, so therefore there's no point getting that one exactly right. Then I went to this one and I worked my way around the island, and oh my goodness, it takes me so long to fly around this thing. When I go in creative mode, I have to put the axiom speed up to ×10 just to get around, because this is insane. This is the first waterfall where I really was quite happy with the shape and the design and the colours. But even with the easy place mode, building these was pretty difficult because I used candles in them, and they actually you need to still have a block underneath. Even with easy place, it won't just place them down. So with some of them you might see I even missed some candles. If we take a closer look, you can just see it's basically just a back layer of some coloured blocks that go into darker ones on the long straights, and then on the bumps where it sticks out it's the lighter coloured ones. And then in front we just have glass and glass panes, and some glass panes coming down the sides here just to get the water spreading out. This one over here is for sure my absolute favourite waterfall though. I just love the way it comes down through the trees, and you can actually see it does have some sort of gaps in it where it's hitting the trees and going around them, and I think it looks really cool just being that close. The rivers, I mean the rivers aren't perfect, I did show those earlier so you know how they all go, but you can see how much bigger these are than the ones that I originally designed, and it's pretty cool flying along inside of the river, especially when I get some bridges over these. That's going to be really, really fun. But that is all for today's episode. Can I do it from here? Oh, I'm hitting the water. Oh, there we go, I got stuck. So that is all for today's episode, and that means finally, now we have all the landscaping and all the rivers, we can actually start building up some of the buildings for Naboo. This is going to be such a fun project to do. I can't wait for the next episode where we're going to start off with the Theed Palace. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching, and may the Force be with you.